Isaac, what is up, dude? Guess what? Today was Father's Day 2022, and it was freaking awesome. I had a fishing guide trip yesterday, and then we went, mom got everything ready, and we went camping at Cataloochee Campground in the national park. And literally, we had an elk, like a big bull elk, come right through our campground. Mama was in the bathroom, and I put my phone away just to be intentional with you and Mama while we were camping. And I didn't get pictures of it, but you were freaking out. It was so cool. I don't know if you'll ever remember it, but it was awesome. And we had a blast. We played in the creek. And then let's see, today we packed up early, and then we came home. We dedicated you at church. We dedicated you to the Lord. You are the Lord's. You're in the Lord's hands now. But then we came home. Mama made ribs, and we went fishing. We went fishing today too. You caught some brim up at a pond not far from our house in Silva. But anyways, it was a really fun day, and gosh, I was just thinking about today. I felt at peace. I felt just filled with so much joy. And there's a Bible verse. Jesus is talking about being crucified, and in John 16, 16:33, he tells them, he says, "Hey, I'm going to be crucified, but I'm going to be with you in the Holy Spirit, and you guys are going to do great things." And anyways, verse 33 says, "I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trial and tribulation, but take heart. I have overcome the world." And it's so crazy to me how the world is like, there's all these things happening around you. Everything's going on around you. And it can definitely be easy to not have peace and just kind of get caught up in those things. There can be like an uneasy feeling over your heart, or even anxiety. Or you might have something going on right now. When you're watching this, you might have something going on. Maybe you're watching this. Maybe you have kids and they're doing something silly or stupid, or maybe something crazy happened in your life, or something financially happened, or maybe you and your wife, or something is going on, and you just don't have peace. But something that I've learned in my short time here in this world, one is we will have trials and tribulations, but two is there's really only three things that we can control. Three things. You've probably heard me tell you this before, but I definitely want to reiterate it. But what are those three things? One of them is your attitude. The second one is your work ethic. And the third one is your decisions. If you can control those three things, man, and what I mean is give those your all, right? When I say, really all you can control is your decisions, your attitude, and your work ethic. If you're working hard, if you're giving whatever you're doing 100%, whether it be your career, being a father, being a husband, being a coworker, being in upper management, being a business owner, being a teacher, whatever you are, if you are doing that, if your work ethic, if you're giving it your best, then hey, you got to put that in the win column. And if you're controlling your attitude, or if you're having a great attitude, a positive attitude, I tell people all the time that a positive attitude will get you extremely far in life. And it's true. So if you can control how hard you're working, and by that I mean working hard, being positive, and then making good decisions, prudent, wise decisions, you have to put it in the win column. And ultimately that should give you peace. Now here's the deal. I know. Sometimes it won't, just because that's life, man. Let me tell you something. There are many days where I feel like I make good decisions, I've got a great attitude, and I work really hard, and things still happen. And I have all kinds of anxiety because of it, and stress, and I can just wig out. But ultimately, when I lay my head down on the pillow at night, I have to realize, hey, I had a positive attitude, I've worked hard, and I made prudent, wise decisions. And if I've done those things, really, I just hand it over to the Lord. because at that point it's in God's hands, right? And like Jesus said, like, hey, in this world you're gonna have trial and you're gonna have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And he says, I've told you these things that you may have peace. In this world you're gonna have trial and tribulation, but take heart, I've overcome the world. So to pair peace with heart, that's where you have to be. And in the middle, you're gonna have trial and tribulation. Everyone's gonna have it. I mean, dude, there are things that have happened in my life, and we'll hopefully have these talks. I'd love to live long enough to tell you stories. Uh, but there's been things that have happened in my life where, dude, I've had a great attitude. I've worked really hard and made wise decisions, and just crap happens, man. My baseball career, uh, I was an extremely hard worker. I was always a guy that cheered for his teammates and loved watching his teammates succeed. I was a team guy. I made great decisions. Man, I slid into second base head first and blew both my shoulders at the same time. It's out of my control. You could say, well, you shouldn't have made the decision to slide head first. I say, yeah, probably, you might be right. But that stuff happens, man. It's life. And what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if you can control your attitude, your work ethic, and your decisions, the rest is in the Lord's hands. And I know a lot of times that can be confusing, because there's certain seasons in your life that won't make sense. It can be filled with stress because you just don't know the outcome, and anxiety will well up in you. But you have to have peace in your heart with those three things, man. And that's really what it comes down to. Just control the controllables is what I say. If you can control the controllables, everything else is up to God. And Romans 8:28 says, "For all things work out for the good of those who love Christ and are called according to His purpose." And that can be a scary verse, because it doesn't say everything's going to work out and be fine and dandy. No, it says, "For all things work out for the good of those who love Christ and are called according to His purpose." Let me tell you something. What's good in my eyes and what's good in God's eyes are two totally different things, because God oftentimes is trying to do a deeper work in our hearts than we're able to see on the surface level. So what I think is good for me. So listen, this is a great example. What I think is good for me is being totally healthy, making good money, having great family vacations all the time, and living that kind of life, right? But that, I promise you, that's not what God has, right? Jesus just said, in this world you'll have trial and tribulation. For all things work out for the good of those who have God and are called according to His purpose. What's good in my eyes are those things, but what's good in God's eyes is developing me into a man who is more dependent on God's Spirit and Him than the things of this world. And a lot of times God has to prune us. God has to take things away from us, and we have to go through tough seasons in order for us to become the men and women that God wants us to be. But when I think about that, I think about just really working hard, man, being positive and making good decisions, and your mama, has had these seasons where they're really, really hard, but it's developed her character into a very special person. And Daddy has gone through a lot of seasons that have been difficult, but it develops character. One of my favorite stories in the Bible too is John 15. Just thinking about it, it says God is the gardener and we are vines. We're like little fruit bushes, right? And it says, if you're not producing fruit, He'll prune you, right? And what pruning does is, when you prune back a tree, it creates new shoots that become more bountiful and more filled with fruit. So if you're not producing fruit, He'll prune you. And if you are producing fruit, guess what? He'll prune you too, so you can produce even more fruit. So that's just part of life, man. That's just going through it, battling and grinding. And like I said, control your attitude, have a positive attitude, control your work ethic, work really hard, and then make wise, prudent decisions. If you do those things, the rest is in God's hands. So anyways, I hope you had a great day. I love you a ton. I hope you're absolutely crushing it. And yeah, man, you rock. I love you.